I was more interested in seeing the Triple H Rock confrontation, in seeing what was going down with Teddy Long and Big Johnny brought back former Smackdown GMs in the ring with Stephanie McMahon in the opening segment. That was entertaining enough until Adam Rose came out, and then not so much. But the Rock Triple H thing, I want to talk about that and a little bit more about SmackDown here. I like the Rock Triple H segment. I know some people did not. Most people, it seems like they enjoyed it for what it was. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was just a nice moment between two guys who were a big part of the fabric of SmackDown back in the day, a big part of the Attitude Era when that show came on the air. And they certainly teased you and led you to believe that there may well be a match between the two of them at WrestleMania 31 next year. It could very well just be, a comedy tease for the sake of just doing, comedy, and there's actually no plans for a match. But between that and between the segment that Triple H did on WWE.com, his weekly sit-down with Michael Cole, he was still harping on The Rock. I think there's at least a shot. There's at least a chance that they could do Rock Triple H at WrestleMania next year. I'm pretty sure I've talked about that possibility on the podcast before. I don't mind that at all. I would be okay with that. That's one match that, Rock is part-time, and people always complain, well, he's coming back to take a spot from somebody else, or who's he going to work with, who's he going to squash, or, all this nonsense. Yeah, to me, if you have a match on the WrestleMania card between two guys, two part-time guys, two old-school guys, rekindling a feud, they occupy one slot on the show, they're not wrestling a younger guy or anything like that, then I have no problem with it. It's not offensive to me at all. They have their own spot on the show. The other guys, the young guys, are doing their thing, and it's a nice stroll down memory lane. Look, they had one of the all-time classic rivalries in the Attitude Era. Maybe one of the all-time classic rivalries in WWE history. I won't put it at number one, but it's way up there. I thought they had a lot of great matches, a lot of good matches back in the day. Their careers, in a lot of ways, paralleled one another as well. I mean, Triple H was in WWE first. Rock came in a little bit later on. But if you look at the progression of each of them, Rock beat Triple H to win his first championship, his Intercontinental title back in '97. And you had to know that there was at least some jealousy there. I mean, Triple H, here's a guy who was there first, busting his ass. The stuff went down with the curtain call at Madison Square Garden. He took the heat for it, probably unfairly so. Here comes this new kid, right? He looks good, except the hair. The hair was horrendous. But here's this kid coming in, second-generation athlete, actually third-generation athlete, and they're pushing him to the moon within 2 or 3 months of him making his debut. And clearly The Rock, when he first came in, was still very green. He was not ready to have the spotlight put on him the way that he did, and the fans reacted the way that you would expect them to. The fans, there was a huge backlash. Die, Rocky, die. They knew it was too much too soon, so they turned on him, which worked to his advantage in the end. He went away with a knee injury, came back, turned heel, and after that, he was in his comfort zone. It was off to the races. But you look at their two careers, Rock made it quicker than Triple H did. I'm sure there was a lot of resentment there, a lot of jealousy. But then they all the matches they had for the WWE Championship, for the Intercontinental Championship, the cage matches, the ladder match at SummerSlam, the strap match on one of those pay-per-views. They never had that one big singles match at WrestleMania, which I think is a crime. I mean, that's a match one-on-one that should have happened at WrestleMania 2000. Instead, they turned it into this fatal four-way match with Big Show, who, if I remember correctly, was eliminated within the first 5 minutes of the match. And they had Mick Foley out there, who was in no shape to even be in the match. He had retired. He thought he was done. He lost a retirement match to Triple H a month before, and then plans change. They call him back. They probably wave a bunch of money in his face. All of a sudden, Mick Foley is back wearing a flannel shirt, doing an elbow drop off the top rope and missing the announce desk. That was embarrassing. So ultimately, it came down to Rock Triple H in that match. They wrestled the bulk of it, but it wasn't, that wasn't what it should have been. And they ended up doing the match the month after when Austin was there, and it was a great moment when Rock finally won the belt. But they never had that one big moment one-on-one at a WrestleMania. So at least in that way, if they did the match, that could be part of the story. Here are these two guys, the wars they had. We never went one-on-one at a WrestleMania. Who would win? I can dig that. I can get into that story. And I thought the interplay between them was funny. They were all cordial at first, and you knew it was all phony, and then Triple H said, well, if you and I ever did wrestle at a WrestleMania, it would be no different than our past battles. I'd whip your ass. And Rock took exception to that. Then they did some comedy. That's actually how the segment ended. Stephanie came in. She broke it up. She said, listen, both of you are great. Can we please go get some food? And off they went to go have dinner. So I enjoyed it. I can't knock it. It was fun. It was a nice little 5 or 6 minutes of nostalgia. And like I said, if it leads to a WrestleMania match, if there's any chance of that happening, I'm okay with that.